I wish I saw this before I made my movies with weird gimmicks video, because this absolutely would have fit. This movie is called The Timekeepers of Eternity, and what it is a re-edit of an old TV miniseries adaptation of the Stephen King story The Langoliers. You may remember it for what all the Stephen King miniseries are remembered for. Generally overacting, bad CG, and horribly disappointing climaxes.
I'm so happy. Yeah!
But what's interesting about this is that it's not just a simple re-edit. It is animated by printing out each and every frame of the miniseries on sheets of paper and animating them. And holy shit, I was not expecting to enjoy this as much as I did. I made that video last month because I love weird little gimmicks like this and I love seeking them out. So this was just another, this seems interesting, this seems neat kind of thing. I just happened to be scrolling through Tom Holland's letterbox, not Spider-Man.
Has to do with Spider-Man, I think.
The Child's Play Fright Night Tom Holland.
Intriguing.
But then I also saw that he directed this weird movie called The Timekeepers of Eternity. And I completely just watched this on a lark. It's only an hour long and it intrigued me. So I watched it and I loved it. There's a horrible, uneasy dread that lurks throughout every scene in this. Full disclosure, I haven't seen the miniseries, so I don't have that much of a comparison point, but I've seen like clips from it and I've watched a couple scenes now that I've seen this version, and yeah, it's a massive improvement upon the original. And I'm aware of the problems that people have. Like, a lot of people take issue with the CG at the end, which, fair enough, it looks like shit. They look like fucking meatballs.
Looks like a solid fibrous piece of shit, straight up.
It's fixed here. It's too long. The movie cuts out 2 hours of footage. The acting is bad. That's still here because they are using the same footage. But honestly, the bad acting here, because the atmosphere and this style is so strong, it creates this Lynchian or Silent Hill-esque feeling that something is wrong, because you get this deep-seated feeling that no one is as they should be, and dread that something is wrong but you just don't know what.
Listen. There's nothing to smell and nothing to hear. No birds singing, no motors revving, no nothing. But what?
Though I will say sometimes the performances are still bad, even like the atmosphere doesn't help.
And if we have a gun by the time he gets here, we're all going to die.
And going back to the horrible CGI and how this movie fixes it, the design of the Langoliers in this is legitimately terrifying. They actually look like a ball of teeth. The gimmick of animating this with printouts of each frame just allows these creatures to have this sort of Lovecraftian design where it's hard to make sense of. You know, if you shoot something in live action, it kind of has to have a form that you can understand generally. But the fact that this is animated allows for this weird, fucking terrifying, brilliant design. You know, Stephen King often has these really weird, esoteric, kind of heady science fiction ideas. I almost wish more adaptations would take a kind of art house or experimental approach to some of this, because the ideas are so experimental in and of themselves. They are these creatures that basically eat every moment of the past as it passes. And the premise of the story is that these characters fail to pass through a moment in time and become trapped. And that concept fits so perfectly with this gimmick. In the story and in the movie, Each moment in time exists on its own, independent of one another, only meaningful in the context of the moment before and after. And after the moment passes, it means nothing. And the movie is filled to the brim with these moments of time fuckery, as I'm gonna call it, and it just adds to the strange sci-fi concept, and it kind of gets it across in a way that I think makes it easier to understand. Reaction shots and the shots of what they're reacting to exist simultaneously in the same frame.
What do you say?
Nothing, just mountains and darkness.
Flashbacks and present day blend or rip together. And all this, in my opinion, elevates this beyond being just a cool experiment and a weird gimmick with cool animation, and turns it into a brilliant way to elevate this material.
Now we know, don't we?
What? We know what?
We know what happens to today when it becomes yesterday. It waits for them. It waits for them. The Timekeepers of Eternity.
That's not to say the movie is without any issues, though, and as much as I think this elevates the source material, they're still basing this off of a not very good miniseries. There's only so much you can do. The acting, like I said, is still a bit rough in a few places. Sometimes in the movie, things just sort of happen. There's no real build. It doesn't feel earned at all. It just feels like characters are doing this now for some reason. Maybe that was better in the miniseries because it's so much longer, but it's only 60 minutes, so the parts I'm talking about don't take up that much time. Overall, I love this movie, especially the character of Craig Toomey. The flashback scenes for his character are so emotionally affecting. Just the presentation, the animation, the editing, it all comes together so beautifully.
Okay. Okay, fine. You're all against me?
It's really on the nose sometimes with what they're trying to say, but it's evocative. Like, I love how Toomey has this tick where he rips paper, and as he rips it, the screen starts ripping in the exact same way. Really on the nose, but I fucking love it. And that's not even, I haven't even gotten into the music, which the way they use the music here and is fucking incredible.
Pussy got me screaming, crying, pissing, shitting.
Overall, I thought this was a beautifully disturbing little art house experiment. Again, I love little experiments like this, but I feel like this rises above being just an experiment. It really adds to the experience. I think it's a great film to make the case for fan edits being an art form on their own. I wholeheartedly recommend this movie, especially if you're like me and love these weirdo art house experiments. If you do, I got a video for you might want to check out. And especially if you've seen the original and don't like it, I can imagine that you would get a lot more appreciation out of this than even I did, because you have the contrast and you can see how much of an improvement it is. So yeah, that is the Timekeepers of Eternity. Check it out if you can find it.
Yeah!
Thank you all for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more epic movie-related content. Leave a like. Comment your favorite Stephen King adaptation. The boy be writing books. He be writing so many books.